So, today's game is Mechanic Mastermind, and it's a moderately complex game, at least at first, to play, which is, aside from the fact that it is a good game, the reason I chose it, because I want to talk about complexity in game design. We'll talk about that at the end. But first of all, we will jump into the game and show it off. The basic idea of the game is that you have inherited a little garage from your legendary grandfather, but you have no tools or anything like that. So what you want to do is repair cars and build a car repair empire, I suppose. Be as he says here, the ultimate vehicle doctor. Um, so you're taking a few jobs that you can do them to make the money to buy the tools to get the jobs that you previously couldn't do but now can do because you have the tools for them. So let's jump in and have a look at it. Run the game. We can start the game. We can skip the tutorial because I will take you through it. Let's maximize the screen. Check that we are in fact recording correctly. Yes, and pause the sound. Right. We can also pause the game. So this is our game view. We have money on the top left. That is the money that we have to buy our tools and things like that. And obviously the ultimate goal is to make that get bigger and bigger so we can buy all of the other things. We have our workshop reputation. As we successfully do jobs, the reputation goes up. If we fail to do them, because there are little timers on the jobs and things like that, if we don't do it in time, the reputation goes down. But it is actually quite hard because the timers are quite forgiving and acceptable. It is just day one, it is the morning of the day, and those are our kind of informational displays. We are at our garage. That just tells us where we are in the world, and this is the map where we can change where we are in the world. There's a few locations we can go to, and I'll show you those shortly. Now we have the main display here is our appointments display. This basically people who want work done on their car try to make an appointment, and we can accept an appointment, at which point the car appears over here. We click on it, the details appear down here. We use the tools to do the work, and once we're done with the work, it is finished and eventually leaves, and we get some money for it. Meanwhile, we start working on a different appointment. I'll show you that whole process in a moment. We have garage upgrades where we can buy things like accounting softwares, which will give us a little bit more money per successful job, or a bay increase so we can work at 2 cars at once. I think we can get staff somewhere along the line, so possibly that's how we work at 2 cars at the same time. There is the tool shop where we buy the tools to do the work. So all we start off with is a basic range, which means that the only work we can do is an oil change. But if someone wants like a tire rotation done, you need to buy a tire iron to do the tire rotation. But once we have purchased a tool, we have it forever, so we only need to buy the tools once. There's the pause and resume game buttons, and then there's the menu that just takes us back to the main menu. Like I said, unfortunately no quality of life controls for the sound. We can't just turn the music off, which is a pity because the basic sounds are quite pleasing. I find them satisfying. Not that there's a lot of sounds. So let's run through a little bit of the basic gameplay. We don't have any appointments at the moment. See, even though we were paused, I think it still jumps the time forward. I think that's a bit of a bug. But we'll have a look. At least we haven't lost any reputation. Come on, give us an appointment. I have to wait for it now. Oh, there we go. There's some appointments. So, for example, this truck wants a tire rotation. So we accept that job. The truck then comes into our bay, says it wants a tire rotation, but we don't have the tool to do a tire rotation. So we have to go to the tool shop. We buy a tire iron kit for $120. And then we drag the correct tool, which is colored green, onto the tire rotation. We only got $75 for that, so we lost money, but now that we've bought that, we have it forever, so we can now look for other tire rotation jobs and do those ones. This one might be interesting. It requires battery replacement and oil change. Let's accept that. Click on him. So oil change we can do because you just need the basic range for that. Battery replacement, we need to buy, I think, the battery service kit. So let's get that. Yeah, it turns green. We do it, cha-ching, and we've got the money for it. We're still sort of having lost money. We're down from our 500, but now we have two quite useful bits of kit to do the work. Yeah, so those basic things. If you have a look at the garage upgrades, there's a bay expansion, efficiency tools, a customer lounge, which boosts the reputation gains, marketing campaigns, so we get more appointments, and accounting software, so we get a bit more money per job, as it were. Tool shop, there's all the basic tools, including the ultimate garage system that can do all the things. If we have a look at the map, we have the scrapyard where you can go and do a search and find some bits of junk which you can then sell and basically just make some money. You have a chance of possibly not finding everything per search, and you can only do one search every 30 seconds, real-time seconds, so yeah, not ideal. We have all of these little jobs where you can travel to someone's house. Let's finish the day. And do the work there. It pays a bit more because you've traveled to it, and it gives you good reputation returns. I'm not sure if you don't have the tool, you just can't do the work, I guess. So yeah, and the time is quite limited on them. And we also have the parts store where we can go and buy. When you travel somewhere, there's a progress bar that is your travel time. Here, if you don't have the full money for a bit of work, you can, for a tool to do a bit of work, you can come here and buy some kind of kit that will allow you to do it just once. So these are like single-use kits, but they're a lot cheaper, obviously, than buying the full tool. So I imagine this place becomes a bit pointless eventually. Once you have all of the sort of the tools that you need. I don't know if there's any jobs that always require parts that you need to come and get. Some of these are like boosts, benefits. I'm not sure. Interesting. Maybe they're like reputation boosts or something along those lines. Could do with some more investigation. But let's head back to our garage. Where did I go? Oh yes, back to the garage. Let's pause the game again. So that's the basic gameplay, and hopefully that is enough to convince you to come play the game. The link will be in the description as usual, and if you're here just to see the gameplay, then thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, because those things boost engagement, which helps me out with the video, especially if you're leaving early, and it helps you out because it teaches YouTube what you're interested in watching, which is, I suppose, gaming videos in this case. So yeah, thank you for that, and I will see you in the next video. If, however, you are here for the critique, well, let's talk about the basic things first, quite quickly. Obviously, I've already mentioned there's no quality of life sound controls, which is a bit sucky. The sounds are fine. This is like sort of clicks and engine sounds as you do the work, and then the music that goes on pretty much constantly. Apparently doesn't go on while you're paused. So yeah, it's kind of like a westerny feel. It's quite pleasant. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I could do with a lot more work on the sounds and obviously the sound controls, but they're more than functional for the game in its state. The art, same kind of thing, really. I mean, it's very obviously quite simplistic art in the background. It doesn't really mean anything. This is a game of menus, really. It's a simulation game. It might be nice for a bit more work done to spruce it up, but yeah, it's fine as it is. It does the job. I quite like the menus. They're sort of bright and colourful and very obvious how they work, and a nice size. Yeah, we'll talk about the complexity in a minute, but other than that, it's fine. Game feeling, same thing. It took me just a few moments after the quite comprehensive tutorial to know what to do. Once I understood it, it was great. Yeah, the game pulled me in, and it's quite comfortable and satisfying to play. If anything, it's maybe a little bit too easy to play. I didn't really have much challenge making the money and keeping the reputation up. So I don't know if there's sort of storyline equivalent elements that come in later. There might be something that the dev might want to consider. But for now, it's a very comfortable, I suppose in a way relaxing game to play, and I like that a lot. And in terms of the immersion, let's go back to the menu. we can have a look at the backstory that tells us all about us. You were working at a large dealership. Your grandfather, legendary mechanic, left you his old garage. You've got just a little bit of money and some very basic tools, so you're going to sort of start on simple jobs, and then work your way up to complex ones, and build your vehicle doctor empire, I suppose. And that's the basic storyline, and I like the fact that it's contained in a little story here. There's, as I said, quite a comprehensive tutorial both here and when you start the game. It takes you through all the same kind of things. These are all just the tabs essentially at the top of the main elements that you can do in the game, mostly defined by the tabs. So the kind of the pulling you into the game and the making you comfortable is fine. I think there's more storyline that could be told inside the game, sort of things that happen, conversations or anything like that. As it is, it's quite a sort of neutral sim type game, without much kind of personal depth to it. So there possibly could do with an element there, but it is still a lot of fun and very satisfying to play in its current state. So yeah, it's just looking forward rather than complaining about the state of it is. And that brings us, I suppose, to the kind of the more philosophical meta question that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. What is the right amount of complexity for a game? Because this is fairly complex when you first jump into it. I mean, you have all of these menus and things that are up here. It's a simulation game, so there's quite a few menus. You have the appointments, and these things pop out, and you have to try and do the work. There's a lot here, but once you get through it, it is quite simple. And I was saying, if anything, it becomes too easy and too simple once you understand the environment, the gameplay space, because it's easy to get the work done and to do the things, especially once you've bought the tools. But when I first started, it was quite difficult. There was a lot of things to look at, a lot of things to understand. So that's one of the factors of complexity, is that you can make quite a complex game as long as you can bring the user in comfortably through the complexity of learning the interface and things like that. And once the user understands that, it's very easy to get into the game, and then all of a sudden you find you're not complex enough, because now there's not enough gameplay, because the user knows what he's doing and is able to play smoothly and comfortably. So yeah, I don't really have an answer here to how to do complexity, other than, I suppose, the basic lesson is that the more complexity you have, the better you have to hold the user's hand when you go into the game. So I know there is a trend with certain games like this, or the Elden Ring games, where it is very complex and there's a lot of fine detail and there's zero hand holding. It's, you go into the game and you die a lot until you get to a certain point where you're not dying anymore, and then you enter a new area and then you die a lot, and that is part of the sort of expectation of the game, the design that is purposeful. But I don't think a lot of games, especially sort of little indie games like this, can afford to do that. Or if they are, they need to be upfront about what's going to happen, because a lot of players are going to be driven away by complexity with no assistance. So that's the only lesson I have there, is that the more complex your game, the better your tutorial should be. And a powerful lesson there came from when I first got into World of Warcraft, many years ago. When you start the game, you go into the starting area, and the game has deliberately simplified itself down as much as possible. You spawn, there is a quest giver in front of you, you only have 2 abilities on your taskbar, and all you need to do is walk up to the quest giver. They will explain what you need to do and where you need to go, which will be somewhere nearby. You go over there, you do your starting quest, you return to the quest giver, and cha-ching, you've completed your first quest. And then as you level up, you start unlocking things that end up on your bar, and you start learning how to use them. So WoW can be very complex late in the game, but it was a masterclass in how to lead a player in very, very easily at the beginning of the game, and to teach them how to play and to teach them how their abilities work and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, and if you want to see a good way of bringing a user in, go play the first 20 levels of WoW. I think you can play the first 20 levels for free. I'm not sure. Last time I checked, you were. That's the lesson of this video. The more complex the game, the more you need to teach the player how to play. So don't be scared of complexity. Just make that allowance that you're going to overwhelm the player and he's not going to know what's going on. He's not going to know how to do anything. And you need to hold his hand until he gets settled with your game interface. And don't make the assumption that your game interface is how other games work, so you don't need to teach the player anything because it's how other games work. Because there are players who you want to come and play your game who have never played a game like yours before, have never played in general, possibly, especially in the indie game market, because it's very easy to get to these games. And you've got people who don't play who are going, what is all this game stuff that these gamers keep talking about? Let me come and have a look at it. And they arrive and your game is complicated and they go, oh, I don't know what's going on, and then they leave and then they never play games. So you want to make it very easy to teach them how to play games so that they become gamers and the market grows, as it were, and they have a good time, and that's really what you want with your game. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So thank you for watching, and thank you to this dev for making the game, and I hope you guys come and play this game and give him some love, and I hope you're subscribed, so I'll see you in the next video. And yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.